I should be like you, Melvin.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Up the Cherries in all departments, and welcome to Cherry AM. And as you can see, it's not Craig and Ollie today, it's myself and Malcolm. Good morning, Malcolm. How are you doing?
Yeah, morning, Matt. Great, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to be here as always. Like I was just saying on the chat a few seconds ago, if there are any topics that anybody wants to discuss, then do pop them in the chat. We're going to try and avoid a majority of transfer activity today because Ollie's going to do. Ollie will be hosting Cherry AM alongside Malcolm tomorrow, and he's used tomorrow's show to do a roundup of transfers. So I don't want to dive too much into speculation. There'll be a couple of bits we're going to cover off transfer-wise this morning, but the majority of it we're going to cover tomorrow. But if there's any other topics or anything at all you want to discuss, or maybe even ask mine and Malcolm's opinion on, then yeah, definitely pop it into the chat for us and we'll discuss it. But we do have a few points to discuss today. But just before we do that, let's just say hello to everybody that's joining us in the chat. Also, thank you to everybody that is joining us on Instagram. Unfortunately, I haven't got the Instagram settings with me today, so I can't go through and thank you all individually. But if you are watching on Instagram, then thank you for joining us. Nick is in the chat. Nick, as always. I think your German's better than mine, Malcolm.
Yeah, guten Morgen, Nick. Wie geht's dir? How are you?
Great performance from England under 21's last night. Harvey Elliott with 2 great goals. Yeah, we're going to touch on that. It's going to be our first point of call this morning. And Nick has also said rumours we were looking at him, and that's obviously Harvey Elliott, along with Brighton and Fulham, could be a good addition, young and ambitious quality player. Yeah, I mean, we've touched on it before. I think I was kind of saying maybe a few weeks ago, great quality player, but where does he fit in? But after watching him again last night, I thought, well, actually, yeah, I think he would be a great addition. But we'll touch a bit more on that very shortly. Paul's in, as always. Hello, Paul. Hope you're well. Once again, joining us. Chris, good morning. No, it's not Craig and Ollie this morning. It's myself and but yeah, good morning to you, Chris. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Great to have you with us. And Paul in Oz. 5 p.m. as always there. Yeah, it's Cherry PM for Paul. Cherry
morning, Paul. Or
evening. But yeah, Cherry PM for Paul. Great to have you with us as always. And Liam, lovely to see you. Hope you're well, Liam. Liam's been on a few cherry pickings before with us, and yeah, great to have you with us, Liam. And hopefully, you'll be able to join us again next season on Cherry Picking at some point. It'd be great to have you back on. And Ethan as well. Morning to you. Thank you for joining us. So, everybody, as Nick was saying, last night's under-21's performance. If you watched it, guys, in the chat, please pop your comments in, your opinions on what you thought of the game. I thought it was a good game of football, to be honest. I thought both sides were fairly decent. England, yeah, I think obviously Harvey Elliott is going to get the praise for the 2 good goals he scored, rightly so. But I thought Alex Scott stood out really well again, which is great. He had quite a lot of praise from the pundits and the commentary team. I think Joe Cole described him as a gem for Bournemouth. Bournemouth have got a real gem in him. So, yeah, very good performance. He put in a couple of good tackles as well in the first half. Some real good ball-winning tackles. His passing looked good. He looks, quite exciting to be in that Bournemouth squad next season. I mean, people in the chat, do you think he can earn a starting place next season? Obviously, he was hampered by a few injuries last season, wasn't he? But yeah, do you think he can cement a place in our midfield for next season? Dan's in the chat, just very quickly. Morning to you, Dan, and well done, Alex Scott, a decent corner taker. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. His set pieces always seem to stand out. Malcolm, I know you couldn't catch the game. It wasn't televised there, was it? But you were following it on TikTok. And you saw some of the praise for Alex Scott as well. Do you think on the back of this tournament, even whether England win or lose the final on Saturday, I think it is, isn't it?
Saturday, yeah.
Alex has really done no harm, has he, in terms of his own performances and possibly making a shout out for a starting place next season.
He is the player I'd like to see start. He was unfortunate with injuries, like you say, but it's very interesting to hear what other fans think. Especially those that go to the live games. Some are full of praise for him, and others don't rate him. So you have to really make your own opinion. But the potential is there. It really is. I think he's a really he's going to go up and up and up. Obviously, if he's in the England squad under 21 level, he's got to have something there, hasn't he? So, yeah, what a guy to have in your squad, and I'd like to see him start, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment here from Paul. I would alternate Alex with Lewis.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be it's a good battle for that midfield, because when you think next season, hopefully, we're going into August with everybody fit, and you have got, hopefully Christie will be back. We all know what his intensity brings to the side. There's obviously going to be Tyler Adams, hopefully comes back from international duty fit. And then, of course, you've got Lewis Cook and Alex Scott. So it's a great 4 players competing for two places. I know Alex can also play more forward in that sort of that Harvey Elliott role, but he can also play deeper as well. Comment here from Dan, just going back over a couple. Any incoming rumours? Dan, we're not going to cover too much on that today, if anything, to be honest. We're going to cover a couple of little bits on transfers, but I was just saying a little bit earlier, Ollie's going to be covering that off more tomorrow with Malcolm. He's going to kind of do a transfer roundup on that. So we're not going to cover too much on that today, but tune in tomorrow and Ollie's going to have a pretty full update on that, where we're at. Paul in Oz didn't see the game. Did he have his mask on? If he can chip in with goals, he will play more. That's a good point as well. Obviously, I think one of the criticism last season from our midfield was that, they probably didn't chip in with enough goals. Alex is definitely capable of scoring goals, as is Ryan Christie as well. But that's definitely a good point. In terms of his mask, I was reading this morning that he's actually playing through the pain barrier. So hopefully, we can. Hopefully, once he has finished international duty, he can rest up and hopefully be, I don't know, pain free for the. I mean, a jaw's a funny thing to break, isn't it? A jaw. It's it's quite a tricky injury, isn't it? 'Cause you can't. It's one of those that's got a heel, and obviously the mask is actually is quite difficult to see. It kind of just goes. It's not quite as full on as the one he had when he came off the bench against Leicester last game of the season. It kind of goes in under the jaw, and there's a bit on the chin. If I can find a picture, I'd bring it up for everybody, but I'll see if I can find one. But yeah, he did have his mask on. Dan, Alex and Christie may be a decent pairing. Yeah, again, I think if you rotate any of the four in terms of Tyler Adams, Lewis Cook, Alex and Ryan Christie, I think most combinations of them would be a decent pairing. So I think it's a great problem for the manager to have, really. Every week, looking at who to pick every game, and it's also good, isn't it? And we always say there's a lot of games, so it's good to rotate them as well, and it's good to have them 4 players that you can rotate and all trust playing in that position. So I think it's a great headache for the manager to have. Chris, any news on incomes to AFCB? Like I say, we were going to touch a little bit maybe on it. I think there's a fullback we're looking at. But tomorrow, Ollie is going to be here hosting with Malcolm tomorrow. And Ollie's show tomorrow is going to be, a transfer roundup. So he's going to round up all the transfers tomorrow. We'll touch a little bit on transfers. But we're not going to touch too much on it because Ollie's planning all of that update for tomorrow. Obviously, in terms of the Kirkes saga, that's still continuing. There's no official announcement from Liverpool or Bournemouth yet, unless it's broken in the last sort of 12 minutes since we've been on air. But yeah, so in terms of transfer activity, most of that will be covered tomorrow with Ollie. Don't think he had his mask on. Maybe I was wrong, Dan. Maybe I was wrong, but I thought I saw a mask on there yesterday. Like I say, the one he's been wearing has been a bit thinner, just raises up on the chin a little bit. I don't know. I'm no expert on these face masks, but maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah. So in terms of, if we go back to Nick's point from earlier on, in terms of Harvey Elliott, Malcolm. Obviously, he burst onto the scene. I do remember when he burst onto the scene. I think he was like a 16-year-old for Fulham, wasn't he? Wasn't he like?
Yeah. Started out at Fulham.
And obviously, Fulham were interested in him again, and I can totally see why. Brighton, again, another club where I think he would be suited. And us, like I said, before, I've been thinking, where would he fit in with the current crop of players that we've got? But yeah, I think after last night's performance, I think I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Cherry shirt, to be honest.
I would like to see him before last night's performance, to be honest with you. I know it was rumoured a few weeks back.
Yeah.
That he's possibly looking to move on. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for him at Liverpool now. If you see the starting 11 and who's on their bench, where's he going to fit in? Obviously not as many minutes as he had under Klopp, but I thought, well, why not get him in? I mean, he would walk straight into the first team without a doubt, in my opinion. Interesting comment this morning I read. Any team outside the top 4 or 5, he would actually walk straight into a starting 11. So
yeah.
And obviously, after last night's performance, obviously not seen it, but what I've read, it can only boost his price. It's going to be, who knows? Who knows? I certainly hope he stays in the Premier League, definitely. I wouldn't like to see him, go abroad. I think he's too young for that at the moment, but if we had a chance of getting him, why not go for it?
Yeah.
So that's up to recruitment, isn't it? They know what they're doing.
Yeah, obviously we're just speculating, aren't we? But
it is nice to dream, but like I say, I just take things as they come, and let the recruitment surprise us, which they always do anyway. So yeah, but would be a really good signing if we could, definitely.
Yeah, he's had a lot of game time under Klopp, didn't he? But last season, his game time was very limited.
Yeah.
He's definitely at that point in his career now where he does need to be one of the first names on the team sheet, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that's going to happen for him at Liverpool. But what he's achieved in that small time he's been at Liverpool, they're of such a young age, so his Liverpool spell has been a success. But it's now a case of playing first team football for him, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, he only had 2 starts last season anyway, and that was after they, won the league. So it was a bit surprising. All the other minutes he had was off the bench. So
yeah, which is disappointing for him, I'm sure. Sure,
frustrating, I would think.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a great season to be involved in, but of course, I'm sure when he looks back at the season, he wants to have played more minutes. But the performances he's putting in for England at the minute, wherever he goes, whether it is to Bournemouth or whether he goes to Brighton or back to Fulham, whoever signs him is going to be signing a great asset who's going to really enhance their chances of a good season next year. But yeah, I mean, all in all, England in the final now. We're hoping Alex will start in the final. I'm sure he will. There's been some good performances as well. I mean, Elliot Anderson has been outstanding, I thought. And when you watch him, you can really see that Forest have got a real player on their hands there with Elliot Anderson. Livramento, again, great performances he's put in for England since being on international duty. So yeah, it's a good young side. I mean, I think there's 6 of them that won the under-19s a few years back, isn't there? And I think there's 2 of them that won the under-21s this tournament.
Yeah, there only 2. Yeah.
So there's a bit of experience of winners in there as well. We know Germany won 3-0 against France last night. I didn't manage to catch that one. But catching up on a bit of it this morning, they won 3-0. Obviously, living out in Germany, Malcolm, the under-21s, obviously we played them, in the group stages. I thought they were quite convincing the first half and thoroughly deserved to be, 2-0 up. And then obviously Alex made an impact in the second half with his goal. Obviously, you've defeated us 2-1 on route to this final. How much of a handful are they going to be on Saturday evening?
It's going to be a tight game. It's not going to be like in the group game. England is certainly going to have to start a lot quicker than they did in the group match. It's one you cannot predict. It is for me that they are going to be a handful. They're on merit, same as England. And we know what Germany can do. It's going to be interesting. I'm pretty certain they will be showing it here, obviously, because Germany are in the final. So I'll find it somewhere on the TV. I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks set to be, whatever the result's going to be. Obviously we all want England to win, but whatever the result's going to be, it's going to look set to be an exciting game of football. With what I've seen from both sides, I'm hoping it's not going to be a dragged out 0-0. I can't see, I don't think. I think there's going to be goals in it.
I'd like to see a game very similar to the under-19s, Germany against Spain. I don't know if you saw that. I was like, wow.
No, I didn't see it, but I saw some highlights of that. Yeah,
Yeah, there's highlights up on YouTube. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, I mean, you can't predict it.
no. For what a great final! If it was to be similar to that one, it would
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
Well, a few of us got the score predictions right. I think yesterday. I think I was in the chat yesterday, and I asked. I said, put your score predictions in the chat. I think a couple of us got it right. We said 2-1. A couple of us in the chat. So well done to you guys yesterday that predicted the right score. But yeah, fingers crossed England can get a good win on Saturday. I'm sure we'll cover off on Cherry AM on Monday morning the result and the performance. But what we'll do is we'll leave that there for the under-21s. Any more comments you want to add, please, guys, pop it in the chat and we'll discuss it. One from Paul: should have done some sort of swap deal with Kirkes. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of I think a bit of disappointment from a lot of people on the value. I would have said, probably 50 million. But 40 million when you look back at it is not a bad figure. But yeah, could we have done some deal there? Quite possibly. Or was that deal at a different point before the interest started? I mean, I think there's several different things with that. But yeah, that could have been a potential solution, possibly. But yeah, it looks like the Kirkes deal, as we all know, is still not official yet. If it's broken already since we've been drop it in. But I think we're waiting for that decision imminently, aren't we? Well, not decision, but announcement. But yeah, Paul, could have been a scenario there, definitely. Paul from Oz: have any viewers seen any building activity around Dean Court? I haven't personally, but I have heard that there is work going on in there. There's, I think they're doing some refurbishment in somewhere. I think it's the main stand that they're doing some refurbishments in, getting things ready for next season. In terms of the actual stadium redevelopment, nothing as yet, but I'm sure, well, not that I've seen, but I'm sure if anything does start or appears to be starting, I'm sure the club will probably make some sort of announcement or what's going on. But if any viewers have seen anything when they've been down there, just drop it in the comments. But someone did say to me the other day that they thought they were doing maybe escalators or something. I don't know. I haven't been back down there for a little while. So I haven't personally seen anything, but I have heard from people, talking that, there is, a series of works going on. But then there always is, isn't there, during the pre-season? There's always little bits and pieces that get done and enhanced and things like that. But at the minute, Paul, I haven't personally seen any in terms of building activity anyway. But yeah, anybody else in the chat that's seen anything or knows what's going on, just drop it on the chat and we'll bring the comment up. Okay, guys, we're going to touch on a couple of other bits. First of all, transfer related. Kepa does look like he's going to be signing for Arsenal. I mean, I've read earlier on in the week that he's meant to be in London to complete the deal. I still think it's a bit of a strange one, going to Arsenal. I think, the price is fantastic price. The 5 million that Chelsea want for him, I think is, it's one of those where you think this is going to possibly be a real missed opportunity for Bournemouth, Malcolm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at 5 million, and to think what Chelsea paid for him, originally it was like, I can't get my head around it. But okay, if he's going to Arsenal, he's going to have it tough to be number one, certainly. But if that's his outlook, if he's happy to do that, who knows? Yeah, I find it a bit strange, really. That maybe Bournemouth couldn't have done a permanent deal. But yeah, I'm disappointed, really. He's a really sound keeper, and certainly had a great season last season.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he sort of stepped up, and okay, when a keeper makes a mistake, he's going to get found out, and everybody's going to see it. But that's the joys of being a goalie, isn't it? But over the whole season, yeah, excellent.
Yeah, totally agree. And I'm just a bit baffled by it because he's going to be competing with David Rea. Again, another goalkeeper that I think is fantastic on his day, great with his feet. You can see why when Aaron Ramsdale was there. At first I couldn't understand dropping Ramsdale, but as David Rea played more, you could see why he fitted in, I think, a bit better with his footwork and stuff like that, which we know Kepa's good with his footwork as well. So I mean, in terms of Arteta's point of view, he's going to have two great keepers that both can use their feet, but I just think they're both number one goalkeepers. Kepa gone where else, and and probably started. If I'm wrong, guys, in the chat and watching, pop it in the chat. Give us your opinion on it. Do you think Kepa to Arsenal is a good move? Great season at Bournemouth last year. And now looking like he's going to be competing with David Rea, but I just can't see Arteta dropping him myself. But we'll see.
You never know with Arsenal, do you?
Sorry, say again?
You never know with Arsenal.
That's it. You never know with Arsenal. I think you've summed it up pretty well. Paul has popped a couple of comments. Let's just go through these very quickly. Paul, I saw some sort of equipment outside the Ted Mac. I couldn't tell you what it was. Yeah, I think that is the case, Paul. I think there's stuff going on, but I don't think it's quite as major as everyone thinks or is hoping for at the minute. But obviously, we know it's all in the pipeline. We know it's all going to happen at some point. But yeah, if anybody else sees anything over, pre-season or knows what's going on, just update us on Cherry AM going forward. Mr. Beasley, good morning to you. Mark McAdam did, yes, and this is true. I did watch this. This is good. So if you haven't seen it on Redmen TV, do tune into it. Mark McAdam did an interesting piece with Redmen TV about Richard Hughes being influential in the Kirkes deal. Might this help direct Harvey Elliott to us? I'd love to see him come here being positive.
Morning, Craig.
Yeah, no, that's something I'd quite like to see as well, I think. That is possibility, isn't it, Malcolm? That might be Richard might be able to help, influence something there. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
But
I haven't seen that actually. I'll take a watch of that after the show.
Yeah, it's very good. Do, like I say, anybody watching, do drop that in and give that a watch. I managed to catch it yesterday evening. It's on Redmen TV. I think it's about 25 minutes long, something like that. It's not very long. Ethan, Harvey Elliott would be amazing for us. Totally agree. After last night, and I know Malcolm said, previous to last night's performance, he's thought the same. So, yeah, he would be amazing for us. It would be good to see him, possibly come to Bournemouth. But there is a lot of interest. So let's see what happens. But yeah, totally agree. He would be amazing for us. Craig, again, I'm surprised he wants to go there and warm Arsenal's bench. It's time to give Mark Travers a chance, please. And Donny, yeah, again, it's great headache to have, isn't it? He's got Neto coming back. He's got Travers coming back from their loan spells. And there's still speculation about goalkeepers possibly coming in. So, Travers, I think we've all sung his praises enough over the time. I think he's ready to go into a side as a first choice goalkeeper. I just think maybe it might be his footwork that might be the reason why he isn't a starter with us. But Mark is a fantastic goalkeeper. I would love to see him as our number one. Who knows? That might well be the plan. That might be well be the plan. But who knows? It's going to be interesting to see how the goalkeeping situation at the club develops over the summer. It might not change at all, or it might be a case that we're bringing another goalkeeper in, and there might be some more movement with the goalkeepers that we've got. Who knows? It's all speculation at the minute. But yeah, I think it's time to give Travers his go. But obviously that's down to Mr. Iriola to start to decide. So yeah, one to keep an eye on. Ethan, hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah, so Mr. Beasley agrees with you, Ethan, on the Harvey Elliott being amazing for us. So yeah, like I said, I think everybody's in agreement with that one. Nick's popped in with a comment. Scott played well, was unlucky not to score. Yes, he was unlucky not to score at the end of the first half, and yeah, it was a great move. Unfortunately, fired that one over the bar, but yeah, it was a deflection, and he has played well for England, which is what we've said earlier. But yeah, Nick, does he go into your Bournemouth starting 11? That's a question for you. Just before we go, a couple of other points that we're just going to quickly cover off. Malcolm, you've noticed Brentford. Obviously, we all know Thomas Frank has left. He's moved on to Spurs. Brentford have got a long history of promoting from within. I think their last 6 managers have all been promoted from within. So they do have a tradition. I think that's great, really. I think that to show that kind of faith in your backroom team, and someone develops and then moves on, and then you've got your manager pretty much already in place to come and take over. So I think that's a good model to have. But this year, with all the transfer speculation around them, and obviously they've brought in a good goalkeeper, a great goalkeeper. They've brought in a goalkeeper, possibly, maybe we've missed a trick on there. But yeah, there's a lot of transfer speculation, losing good players. Obviously, they lost Ivan Toney last summer, and now it looks like they're set to lose some more this summer. Do you think it's going to be a bit of a downfall for them?
Well, they didn't miss Ivan Toney, to be honest with you.
No.
It did surprise a lot of people. They did, the thought process was that, they would probably finish lower down than they actually did. But no, what a well-run club. With obviously losing manager now, and players pretty much certain to leave. Mbuemo and Norgard is the latest, possibly going to Arsenal. So we worry about the players we're going to lose. So Brentford, and this is what I wanted to say, is a comparison between the clubs. That you have some really good players, top players. They've proved their worth in the Premier League, put themselves in the window, going to get snapped up by bigger clubs. So Brentford are no different to us, and this is it. The same going to be said with Brighton over the past few seasons as well. So
yeah,
when other teams come in or players say, "Yeah, I've got an offer," or "I want to leave," they obviously got to be good enough. But then you just have to accept this process. It's evolution in football. It's the way it goes. It is hard. It's hard to understand it because you've just had such a high from the previous 12 months and thinking, wow, this is superb. Can we go again? And then suddenly your legs are chopped from underneath you, because maybe 2, 3 or even more players might end up leaving for whatever reason. But that is football. And that's why I always say trust the process. I keep believing, because it doesn't matter who leaves, and Brentford will be exactly the same. They'll lose some top players, but they will find, or try to find, decent replacements that'll fit in to their system. And this is exactly what most clubs do. And going back to the point you mentioned about replacing within, managers. And I mean, we tried it with Jason Tindall, didn't we, when Eddie went?
Yeah.
And then Gary O'Neill, he was also part of the back room. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at least they know how the club's run. They got the feel of all the players. They're all in the same boat, and it's just a question: are they good enough managers, to push it on? And you won't know until the season starts. When good luck to them. Who knows with Brentford? But it's one of the games I always like to watch because of the way they play football. The thing with Fulham, when we play Fulham, you forget about Man United, Man City, Liverpool, and all that. Real competitive games, and decent styles of football, and that's what I like to watch. So it's and that's the level you're at. If you can, obviously get points off them, brilliant. But at least compete with them, and that's so that's how far the bar has been raised, and then you just go from there, really. But no, I think I feel sorry for Brentford if their squad is, or first team players are decimated, with outgoings. So they're very much in the same boat as we are at the moment.
Yeah.
But we've got weeks to go yet. Who knows what's around the corner? And I'm sure Ollie will put us all in the picture tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, definitely look forward to that one, guys. Well, like I say, it'll be a transfer roundup tomorrow from Ollie. Just quickly go back over a couple of the chat. All good, thanks, Craig. Missing football so much. Ethan, I think we all are, mate, on that one. Apart from the England under-21s, which we're all enjoying, I'm sure. And then Ethan's asking Craig if he's all good. Craig said, I'm all good, mate. Same here, Bryn on August. I think Brentford could really struggle. That one, I think this year might, if they are going to struggle and not recover from losing Thomas Frank, I think it's going to be this season that they struggle. If this new man comes in, I mean, the good thing is about the man that's coming in, Keith Andrews, I think his name is. Good thing about this is that he's already knows the squad, knows the players, knows
exactly.
always a plus. It's not a case like it's a new manager coming in pre-season, got to meet the players, get to know the players, get to know their strengths, their abilities. He will kind of have all that in his armory already. But it's always difficult. So I think he's come from didn't he used to be like an analysis or set piece coach or something? I can't remember.
Set piece coach, I think you're right.
So obviously he's worked with the players on the training field as well, but it's very sometimes difficult to transition. And I think this might be what Jason Tindall found difficult, possibly going from that coach and assistant kind of role into being that main manager role. So it'd be interesting to see how this guy at Brentford does come in and adjust to management. But like Craig said, but we say that every year, don't we? Yeah, on our tier list, we I think definitely last season, I know we put Brentford down, not to get relegated, but to struggle. But that's a show that'll be coming up later on in the summer. We always do the tier list where we just try and predict where Bournemouth and the other 19 sides will finish. Nick, new Cherries Unpicked on Solent. Yeah, that's another great one, Nick, actually. Cherries Unpicked. I think Joe Partington's on that, who we did an interview on this channel with a couple of summers ago. Well worth a listen, mainly about transfers and the possibility of a team restructure. Yeah, if we do lose a couple of more players, who knows, we might be doing a bit of that. So I haven't listened to that yet myself, so I shall tune into that, but I have heard them before and they are They are decent shows. There is no point keeping an unhappy player. This is why I think if Zabs really wants to go to PSG, once our valuation has been hit, we might have to let him go. Pinto and Frano will know a replacement. This is the other thing as well, and this is, like I've said before, we've brought in so many great young players that, if we are seen to be preventing players from making that next step, might put off further recruitment. And that's key as well. You can't keep an unhappy player as part of your squad, can you, Malcolm? It affects not only that player, but can also affect the mood of the squad, which is not good for everybody, on game days and in preparations for games, is it?
No, I mean, I understand what Craig is saying here, but I can't get my head around the fact that he's an unhappy player. I mean, he's played through the season. He's been top notch.
Yeah,
So
I think
what is the reasoning behind the comment? It's nothing critical or anything. It just. I know the speculation about him going to PSG that came out.
I think the point he's making is that if the move wasn't to happen and he became unhappy, I think that's the point I think he's making there. I'm sure he'll probably pop a comment in a second, but I think what he's saying is that if the move to PSG didn't happen because we kept saying no to the offers that was being made, did that make the player unhappy? If he wanted to, obviously they're Champions League winners, they've got European football, they're obviously playing in this World Club. Would preventing him moving make him unhappy? I can understand there's always the valuation, and I think the club's doing the right thing in terms of the valuation. I wouldn't let him go for any less than what the club's asking for.
That's right. Yeah. PSG
want him that bad, then PSG would need to pay the money. I would suggest, but I think Pinto. This is the other thing. This is where I know there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of talk, and like I've said plenty of times before, we got to just trust in the likes of Pinto, Frano, the scout in the recruitment department.
Yeah, definitely.
We all thought it was, drastic last year losing Dom, who's been, a great player for us. He really developed on, really come on well in his last few seasons at Bournemouth. But we brought in a great replacement and for less money than we sold him for. So it is all about the business model as well, isn't it? And, I just think, with Zabs, we'll see what happens.
I think, if Zabs didn't go, right, he'd be guaranteed first team football anyway.
Yeah, that's it. And I think Paul's hit the nail on the head here. He is a true professional. He won't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think he's that type of character. I think I totally get Craig's point and what Craig's trying to get at there. I think if it was a case of this summer he didn't move and he had to spend another season at Bournemouth, his performance were only going to attract more attention over this season, and I'm sure he'd get a move the following summer. But like we always say, you don't want to see any of your good players go. So it's a tricky thing. But like I say, and Ethan, great comment here. Trust in Frano. Yeah,
we do indeed. Yeah,
you could trust Frano on the pitch, and now we're trusting him. With in his technical director role to, keep our good players and bring in future stars and trust in Frano. Yeah, great comment. That totally agree. But yes, so that's just touched on Brentford there because it was just a discussion myself and Malcolm were having, off air. It could be a case of next season that, Brentford may struggle. It's going to be interesting to watch how Brentford develops over this summer. Last thing to touch on before we go, very quickly, Max Aarons has completed his loan move to Rangers. Everybody, I think, knows my views on Max Aarons. I like Max Aarons, but I do understand that, if the player isn't going to get the game time, which he struggled massively for last season, then I think a loan move is a great thing. I would like to see him eventually become part of, our starting 11. But obviously that would be down to the management. But good player. I think he's going to have his hands full there as well. He's going to be competing against Tavernier's brother, James Tavernier, a great right back, someone whose career I followed quite a bit because I like following right backs. But I think a great fact of his, I think he's one of the highest scoring right backs of all time, actually, because he's a penalty taker and this, that, and the other. I think James Tavernier, he's got quite an impressive goal tally for a right back. But yeah, so he's going to have some competition there with him competing, and he's also the club captain, I believe, as well. So Max is going to have some competition there, but I reckon he's going to get a lot more game time at Rangers than he has done at Bournemouth and Valencia last season. Malcolm.
Well, we can only hope. He wasn't getting it at Bournemouth, so he's going to have to go elsewhere to find minutes. Like you say, he's got competition. We'll know sooner or later if it was the right move or not. But it surprised me a little bit, to be honest with you. He went to Rangers. But okay, it's a loan move with no option to buy. See how it works out for him. I mean, we just wish him luck, really. And as you so rightly said, I hope that he gets the minutes that he deserves. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He does deserve that, doesn't he? And I think he's going to a good club, good level. I think there's some people that think he's maybe not ready for the Premier League, stuff like that. But I think the most important thing for him is the minutes, isn't it? Next season. But yeah, so I think that's kind of bringing us to a close. Malcolm, isn't it? I think that's pretty much everything that we're going to discuss. Just run through the chat very quickly again. Big thank you to Nick, Paul, Chris, Paul from Oz, Liam, Ethan, Dan, Mr. Beasley, obviously. Thank you to everyone for joining and interacting in the chat. Very grateful for that. Tomorrow, like we said, Ollie and Malcolm will be here tomorrow. It's going to be a transfer special tomorrow. Ollie's going to do a big roundup of transfers. I'm sure there's any other news as well.
I'm excited.
Yes, it's going to be a good one tomorrow. So, yeah, thanks for the show. Yeah, Paul, thanks for joining every day. It's great to see you. Craig, great job this morning, guys. Better head off to the cracks for the blood pressure, but it's looking good. They mentioned VAR. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you everyone that's been watching. Thank you to everybody that supported Cherry M since it started and its growth. We're very, very happy to join everybody every morning. Like I say, tomorrow it'll be Ollie. Craig will be back on Monday with Ollie again. And I might be back next Friday, who knows? But yes, until the next one, everybody, thank you very much for joining us, and up the cherries.
Yeah, up the cherries. Take care, everyone.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.